Imagine a man stranded in the heart of a barren desert. He has no food, no water, and the sun punishes everything around him. In desperation, he scoops up dry sand and tries using sheer willpower to convince his body he's drinking cold water. It is a ridiculous image because the human body is a rigid machine. It flatly refuses to be tricked by mental fantasies. In this environment, sand remains sand, and the body will eventually succumb to thirst regardless of how positively the mind tries to think. Yet, in our daily lives, we often operate with this same level of disconnect. We attempt to bridge the gap between what the mind imagines and the strict biological laws governing our composition, creating a constant, quiet friction that we've come to accept as normal. We live in an era of copy-pasting. We see a successful routine or a trending diet on social media and apply it to ourselves immediately, assuming that because it worked for someone else, it is a universal truth.
It's the equivalent of walking into an optometrist's office and buying a pair of glasses simply because the frames look stylish on another person. You aren't checking the prescription, you're just adopting the look. When we force ourselves to see through someone else's lens, we experience a metaphorical headache, a persistent sense of being out of sync that often manifests as modern malaise, anxiety, or a chronic feeling of emptiness. Adopting these external programs without first measuring our own internal compatibility ensures that we spend our lives in a state of constant, exhausting distortion. To find a way out of this friction, we have to look at the human system as two distinct entities that happen to live under the same roof, often with completely different agendas. First, there is the ego. This is our psychological software, a volatile voice shaped by our upbringing, our environment, and a constant modern hunger for immediate dopamine hits. Then there is the body architecture, a structured geometric grid of unyielding engineering. Think of the ego as a corporate executive obsessed with immediate profits, and the body as a factory floor built with specific tolerances to last for decades. Most of our internal struggle is simply a systems failure. The factory floor is being pushed to the brink of collapse by the impossible demands of a short-sighted executive. We see dismanagement conflict in small, daily choices. Imagine having a severe throat infection, yet feeling a sudden, intense craving for a bowl of ice cream. The ego remembers the hit of sugar and the temporary pleasure. It ignores the long-term physical cost because it only operates in the now. But the body architecture operates on a different logic. Its internal catalog is focused on cellular repair and recovery. It rejects the ice cream because cold sugar actively sabotages the healing process it is trying to manage. This is the same logic behind doom scrolling at 3 a.m. The ego demands one more video for a quick spark of stimulation, while the body is effectively begging for the deep sleep required to reset its hormones and repair its systems. Every time we prioritize the ego's momentary whim, we are essentially cannibalizing the physical structure that allows us to exist in the first place. This challenges the popular idea that we can simply reprogram our way out of any physical reality. Even the placebo effect, often cited as proof of the mind's dominance, has very clear boundaries. In this process, the mind doesn't invent new physical laws. It simply signals the body to release internal resources it already has, like endorphins to mask pain. It is a management of existing inventory, not the creation of something from nothing. Just as the mind cannot magically extract water from sand, it cannot force the body to operate outside of its engineering specs forever. The biological catalog rejects deception, treating the body as a machine that can be hacked with words while ignoring its rigid mechanical needs eventually leads to a total systemic breakdown. If we accept that our physiology doesn't negotiate, then the only way to find stability is to interact with the body according to its original blueprint. This requires us to look at every new habit or lifestyle choice through a filter. We have to identify where the impulse is actually coming from. Is this choice providing necessary maintenance to the factory floor, or is it just another attempt to satisfy the executive's hunger for a quarterly win? In this framework, happiness isn't the act of satisfying every desire. It is the state of deep stability that occurs when the ego finally stops fighting the reality of the body's design. Natural laws are patient, but absolute. The body will never accept sand as a substitute for water, no matter how we try to rebrand it. But if our physical selves are built on such a strict, unforgiving blueprint, we have to wonder if the same logic applies to the rest of us. Is it possible that our minds and souls have an equally rigid, hidden architecture? We might find that the modern feeling of being lost isn't a lack of options, but a reaction. It may be the sound of an internal system violently rejecting the spiritual fast food we try to feed it, reminding us that every part of our being has a catalog we have yet to read.